Good morning, everyone, or if you're watching this the day before, good afternoon. I am going to go through a few things both for our class in the next 4 weeks as well as vocabulary notes. So you are going to need to take out a notepad and a pencil to take notes on these vocabulary words that you will need later in the learning. So the first thing that I want to make sure in order to be successful in class is that we need to make sure your iPad is updated, and that would be to make sure you're on the most recent operating system. Okay, so the second thing is I would like you to take notes from this PowerPoint on the vocabulary words that will be pertinent for our Unit 1 discussions and assignments. We will define the key terms and words that we'll be using. Tomorrow, you will be taking an implicit bias test. And I would like to explain to you, you're going to go onto a website. It's a Harvard website, and you're going to be taking a survey or a test. What this is not a test like that will judge you in terms of what you know or what you don't know. This is just something that's going to give us a little insight into our first thoughts, not our second thoughts, but our impulses, okay? So you are going to take out this bias test, and then you're going to fill out a worksheet identifying which test you took, because you have a choice of taking about 50 different tests on there. And so I want to make sure you know when you go on to this link, it's going to ask you to proceed, and you're going to be asked some demographic questions. You're just going to continue. If you don't want to tell any of your demographics, your age, or anything, don't worry. Just go through it and don't put the information in, okay? And lastly, you're going to fill out the worksheet and define the connections between the values and beliefs and stereotypes and bias. So that's kind of what we're doing this week. So you are going to need a folder for civics on your iPad in Notability. You want to mark civics, Unit 1. Okay, we're going to have 3 units in this try, not 4 as it says on the screen. So you will have 3, but I do want you to have a specific folder for civics. Okay, your iPads need to be charged fully every single day. Our working hours are 9 in the morning till noon. That will be Monday through Thursday. So you need to have your iPad charged because you're going to need to use it every day. You should also have the following apps. You should have Flipgrid, which you should have already completed your initial Flipgrid for this class, introducing yourself. You should have also WebEx because that's what we'll be meeting on primarily, and we will meet at least a couple of times a week. And these apps should be on your iPad, and if they're not, you can go to self-service and find them, okay? And if you have any technology questions, you can email me, and if I'm not able to answer you, we do have the tech department that can help us with that. This is a very important slide. I want you to write this number down where you can look for it at any time. This is my room number on WebEx, 803-089-132. You'll be able to meet with me face-to-face to get help anytime during 9 to noon. It's best to set an appointment, but this will always be my room number. So I don't want somebody to say, oh, I didn't know what your room number was, or I couldn't find you. If you can't get on this right now, make sure to reach out to me so that I can walk you through how to do that, okay? So work must be completed each week. I don't want kids to start this 4-week and then get behind and try to catch up, because we're putting 10 weeks of work into 4 weeks of school. This is very doable for you, so I don't want you to feel intimidated by the amount of work, because this kind of work is really about thinking about yourself for the most part, okay? But if any student was signed up for this and does not engage by this Friday and turn their work in, we're going to drop you from the class. If you're watching this already, chances are you're engaged. But for those who didn't show up, just know that after Friday, if you haven't turned in your assignments for the week, we will no longer have you on our class roster. Don't wait to the last week to complete everything. If you're a student that is a not yet, who has already done the majority of the work and is working with me on one-on-one to get things done, don't wait till the last week because it will be too difficult to complete. So what we're going to talk about in this first unit is values and beliefs. And the first thing we have to talk about is, why do I believe what I do? So where do we start when we talk about something like this? What is a belief? This is where I would like you to write your information down, please. What is a value? We talked about it today on the WebEx, and we said that a value is a person's judgment of what's important in life. And a belief is an acceptance that something is true. So if you look at the image on the screen right now, this man is sitting behind a desk that says, "Pop-Tarts are ravioli, change my mind." He believes that a Pop-Tart is ravioli. How are you going to convince him otherwise? You can say, well, both have dough on top of filling. And he'll say, yep, that's why a Pop-Tart is ravioli. And you'll say, no, but one is sweet and one is savory. It doesn't matter. How are you going to change this person's mind when they have a belief? It's a difficult thing to do. When people believe in religion, they believe in things they can't see. It's hard to convince them otherwise. So just have that in mind. A belief is an acceptance that something is true. So a value is a person's judgment of what is important in life. This is the third time that I'm saying this, but it's important for you to know what a value is. If you look to the left, you'll see a list of values. You have excellence, honesty, you have faith, you have accountability, consistent. These are all values. Some people value money. Some people value religion. Some people value family. Some people value honesty. So you're going to unpack that with your what do I believe. A stereotype is another word that is very important to know. And we are going to be getting into stereotypes. They are an oversimplified version of a belief of a person or group of people. So we all have in our mind stereotypes, right? So if you look at that picture down on the right, you have stereotypical Americans. What do you have? You have gun-toting people, you have overweight fellows sitting on the bench eating a hamburger. This is what maybe people outside of America think of Americans, and that is a stereotype, an oversimplified version or belief of a person or group of people. This exists for all groups of people. This is age, gender, identity, race, class. In your mind, you have a stereotype. You have a stereotype of different races. You have a stereotype of poor people, rich people. You have stereotypes of gay people, straight people, gender fluid people. Stereotypes just exist. They're oversimplified, so they're only one slice of a person. And that's what we call the danger of a single story, which is one of the videos that you will be watching. So what is a bias? This is another vocabulary word that it's very important to write down. A bias is something deeply ingrained in ourselves. It's prejudice in favor or against one thing, person, or group compared to another. And usually it's in a way that's considered to be unfair. What you need to know about bias is that everyone has a bias. And it's not that we are conscious about our biases. These are beliefs that have been shown to us and through media, through our family, through religion. A bias isn't something that you have ability to control. It is something deeply ingrained that you have a bias. You prefer one thing over the other. And biases come from different places. So what I want you to think about is, what are things that would impact your bias? Friends, they may say, oh, these kind of people are this way. Or religion may paint other religions a certain way. Culture, family, where you're located, if you live in the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere, you have different perceptions of cold and heat. And you have language. You may have biases in that degree. So if we can unpack our biases, how might we act differently if we're aware? So when people take these tests, a lot of times they'll say, well, it didn't show me anything because I'm not racist. I don't feel that way. But what the test does is it takes your initial response to something, and that's your feeling about something. It's not the logical outcome of what you know to be true. So the next thing you're going to do is taking an implicit bias test in Schoology, as I told you, from Harvard. So that is all we have for today. And I just want you to make sure that you know you can call on me if you need something. And I will be available 9 to noon, and you have my WebEx, so if we need to meet up face-to-face and talk over a particular assignment, we can do that as well. And I wish you all great luck this week, and have a great day.